Well, Volleyball Canada is getting ready to qualify for what we hope is their next appearance in the Olympic Games, and that is something that I think a lot of people have to take pride in. They made their most recent appearance in the 2016 Games, but hadn't been at the big dance for many a year prior to that. So it's kind of a big time right now if you're into the world of volleyball. We'll talk Canucks, we'll get into the NFL, we'll do all that stuff, but I do want to make sure that we at least touch on college sports and all sports. That's why we call it Rob Fai Nation Radio. It's all inclusive. It is for everybody. And we are just minutes away from being joined by Dan Jansen VanDoorn, who played 4 years at Trinity Western University as a middle. And it was funny when I was doing research, I didn't realize just how decorated Trinity Western University is when it comes to their men's volleyball program. And, Dan, first and foremost, thanks for making me a part of your night tonight. But Trinity Western, that is an absolute cog out there in the Valley, and I think they deserve a little bit of light on them tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So far, so good. I would ask you if you're nervous, but I'm assuming with everything that you've done in your career, that getting ready for the Olympic qualifiers just another day at the office.
Well, it is an honor to be on the show. I used to listen to TSN as a kid in my bed on the alarm clock after my parents sent me to bed. So it's a pleasure to be on the show tonight.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about where Volleyball Canada is at right now. I mean, we'll obviously after this step back and talk about your journey from Trinity Western University all the way around the world, which is one of the real cool things about playing volleyball as a sport. But where are we at right now as a volleyball nation when it comes to competing against the best on the world stage?
Canada's made some pretty big strides in the last couple of years. 2016, we qualified for our first Olympics in 24 years. And, I think we're naturally at a bit of a disadvantage. A lot of countries, guys can play pro or be around pro games at really young ages. But here we don't have a pro league, obviously. So kids kind of they go through the college or university process, and then they go overseas if they can at about like 23. So we get a later start. But we've climbed up the ranks in the past 10 years. I think we went from, the mid-20s in international ranking, and now we're sitting at 7th. So things are looking up for us.
Well, I would say that, and also I think what you guys did over in Rio was definitely worth taking a look at. I mean, we talk about the World League, but obviously the stage is the greatest for the Olympic Games. What do you think was the turning point when you got to Rio where the rest of the world said, boy, Canada can play?
I think it's just we've always kind of seen ourselves as an underdog nation in volleyball, and we saw it right away when the tournament started, and we were able to beat the U.S. There's a powerhouse continually in the first game that being an underdog has always kind of helped us, and we just I don't know if it's part of our culture or the way that we train or whatever, but we go to battle against everyone. So yeah.
I want to talk about Trinity Western University because I try, and I know I'm on a sports station where Canucks reign supreme, but I do try to bang the drum of university sports in this region. And I would be honest, I will be honest with you, Trinity Western, I didn't realize that the men's volleyball program was such a powerhouse out there. You were there from 2008 through 2012. I mean, we're talking multiple national championships. Trinity Western, over the last 15 to 20 years, went from one of those college universities to the full-scale university to all of a sudden taking on the big boys and really the number one team in the nation.
Yeah, no, I got to give credit to Ben Josephson. He's been the coach there since, I think, 2007 or something, and he's won a handful of national championships. I really think that all credit is to him for the way that he's developed the program. And, if you look at our national team roster right now, we've had, I think there's 4 of the 14 guys that are here are from Trinity, and on the B team there's a handful more. So it's all credit to the work that Ben Josephson's done out there.
6 national championships since 2006. 06, 11, 12, 16, 17, and 19. You were there for a couple of them. Talk to me about being the last team standing. The final point, all of a sudden the ball hits the ground on the other side. That, for me, is the moment that as a broadcaster I look forward to. Talk to me about being a guy on the court.
Yeah, it's something special. I'm really fortunate to have been surrounded by a really talented group of guys every year. As a volleyball player in Canada, the highest level you can really watch is university or college. So it was like winning the Olympic gold for me at the time. But it was really fun. We won 2 in a row, and we actually won one at home in Langley one year, which was one of the best moments of my career to date.
And that's saying something, because I know that you've played abroad. If memory serves me correct, I'm going to go France, Greece, Finland, and Belgium. Have I covered them all?
Yeah, you have. Yeah, I've kind of been. I'm a suitcase at this point, but a lot of guys on my team are able to play in Europe. Volleyball's quite popular in South America, Asia, so guys are playing in different leagues across the world right now.
I mean, if you ask me if I could go to Finland, Greece, France, I don't know if I could pick one. Where's your favorite stop so far? And you don't have to be biased. Which one's your favorite?
This year I'm playing in Belgium. It's a really good time, but I think I've enjoyed Finland the most, actually. I'd compare it it's quite similar to Canada in a lot of ways. It's a little darker and a bit colder than Vancouver, but I don't know, they're basically just beer drinking hockey fans up there as well. So really nice people, and really enjoyed my time.
Is it hard? I mean, when you say that you live out of a suitcase, I think of, guys that go around and play around in Europe, like Dave Tomlinson, who broadcasts here at our station, played a couple of years in a couple of different countries overseas. Is it one of those things where you're always looking for the next opportunity, or you wish that you could set up a couple of routes?
I mean, I think it's kind of a grass is always greener situation. I'm always halfway through the year, you get a little bit of a, all right, get me out of here kind of feeling. But then it would always be nice to sign like a 4-year deal. But unfortunately, it doesn't really happen in pro volleyball the way it does in the NBA or NHL or those kind of leagues, just because teams are pretty short-sighted. And if they don't win the championship, then they kind of change a lot of guys. So, yeah, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's nice to live in a lot of different countries, but it also tough to, like you said, establish your roots.
Mm-hmm. Dan Jansen VanDoorn joining us just for a couple more minutes here on TSN 1040. Dan, I want to circle back one more time to Trinity Western University, and I'm going to take you back even a little bit further when you were in high school, because a lot of kids right now getting ready for their, their club season and are starting to wonder, what do I have to do to get to a school like Trinity Western? Is it so much about the club team? Is it about your skills? Is it about making your demo tape better than everybody else's? If you could give a young up-and-comer a little bit of advice to follow your route, what would you give them?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Just try to learn as much as you can. Watching volleyball at the high level is really important, I think, just to see how the experts are doing it. And, try to watch games, like you said, Trinity, UBC, wherever you can get out. Me personally, I got cut from my U16 club team, and I was a late grower. So, it's a bit of a cliche, but don't give up. Keep working, and if you want to do it, I'm sure you can.
So a guy that cut from U16 ends up going on and having a nice professional career and a couple of national university championships. That is a pretty good story. Dan, before I let you go, I just want to give one more tip of the cap to Trinity Western. Bailey Broadbent was kind enough to set this up for me. I just want to talk a little bit about the atmosphere and the environment at Trinity Western. We hear plenty about UBC. We hear plenty about SFU, but Trinity Western has really established itself as kind of the cream of the crop of the Fraser Valley. But if those, I guess, locals to the Lower Mainland don't know much about Trinity, sell it for me. Why is that environment such a good place for a student athlete to go?
The school itself is pretty good. Depends what you want to study. I study business. It's a really phenomenal program there. It's the community on campus is really cool. It's almost like you're living in an extended summer camp in a way. But the sports programs are second to none, depending on what sport you're talking about. But they've really done a good job of overhauling and hiring the right coaches for the right spots. So yeah.
It sounds like you guys are in good hands. Now, very quickly, national team getting ready for the qualifier. Let's wrap this up. What do you guys have to do to take the next step? Like, for example, do you know who's in your pool yet? Do you know what your draw is?
Yeah, so Friday we play Mexico in the Pacific Coliseum, Saturday Cuba, and then Sunday we'll play Puerto Rico. And it's as simple as that. We win all three, we go to Tokyo 2020.
And when you look at that pool, who's the draw? Is it? I would assume Mexico will probably be the toughest task. Am I being naive?
Actually, Cuba's a pretty strong team. They're physical guys. They jump high, and Mexico's going to be tough as well as Puerto Rico. But Cuba's probably our main competition.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope you do well. I would love to see you guys go back, and more than anything, you finally came through. You're on TSN tonight, and I appreciate more than anything you staying up late. So we'll finish this at 10:40 tonight. How ironic. Dan, thank you for making me a part of your night.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And good luck to you guys this weekend.
Thanks. Take care.
All right. There he is, Dan Jansen VanDoorn here on TSN 1040. And Chantel, it's interesting. My daughter plays volleyball. She plays out with the Coquitlam Ducks, and it's a wonderful club program. Maybe one of the best in Canada, much less British Columbia. And she stares at all these high school and university players and just, looks up. So when he said that one thing about how you should be watching players at higher levels, I was like, God, thank goodness we're on the right track, because it's one of those sports that doesn't get a lot of grease in Canada. And I think to myself, where can you watch this? Because, obviously, like he mentioned, there's not a pro league here. So you got to go to SFU and UBC and Trinity Western. And now this weekend at the Pacific Coliseum. What a golden opportunity to watch an Olympic qualifier this weekend at the Pacific Coliseum. I'm sold.
Are you going to be taking your daughter?
If she'll take me. You got to remember, she's like 16 now, so the dad's not as cool as he used to be.
That would be the perfect thing to go with her, right?
I'm thinking about this. I think I might have just made my plans for the weekend. And what's interesting is that's a guy that got cut from his U16 program and all of a sudden fought through it. He probably had 1 or 2 more years before university came knocking, found his way back into the club scene, then all of a sudden goes to Trinity Western, and now is making a life living in Belgium, getting ready for the Olympics that hopefully they qualify for. And then all of a sudden you look back at his record, he's gone to France, Greece, Finland. Life's probably not all that bad. So I'm glad that he made time for us.